Abusia Yamama Kwabaswan Koso Eba POG Media. So meso safe na obaswa obe like na wa subscribe na afi so etima share dwumadi no. Ama afoforo nso ensa etumi aka. Ensem koso my Ghana mu a yenso yaje pini yese. Bryan no yebemi abedafo ehu de airco ene de airba. Na de ensem ene koso highway ni so. Eye manasi azure ena aba be expose Bryan Acheampong big time achese. Enya sim kuma na manasi azure chema eye former finance minister eye KenMustGo tamano serve as finance minister ewa aban Bryan Acheampong nkofo bi bo pose da KenMustGo eyi na moye no eye Bryan Acheampong ena da apone ba achese na opekwan eyi KenMustGo efu na achese omudi obi abehye wo metima lutu Ghana sika abusuan sama manase azuru edi tuguda no esewani ensese ekacho enti Black Rasta edi nsem ni mu nchiemu abraya na pesa abedafo ba miako na yakwakuti nsema Black Rasta edi betu da na ansa na ebeko no mesho so wonsem kan bia or be share comment section or be like no subscribe na afi so ma share dwumadi no na ba dwumadi na very interactive medase
Manasseh. Do you know him? He calls himself the Bongo boy. Remember I said Bongo, not Tongo. He's a frafra boy. You can see from his marks on the face. His father was a watchman who had a number of children, and he worked so hard to be able to take his children through school. One of the jewels that he presented us with, I'm talking about his watchman father, is Manasseh. He took life the hard way. He decided not to be corrupt. He said, even if I'm going to die of hunger, I'll choose not to be corrupt. Oh, what a man. My brother, Manasseh is an investigative journalist whose work has seen so many people taste the flavor of jail. His work has seen so many people punished. His work has seen so many people lose their jobs. And every government is scared of his work. At this point, I want to also doff my heart for Anas, another investigative journalist whose work, until recently, when a lot of controversies came around him, my brother, my sister, 10 hairs around. Who is Bryan Acheampong? Do you know him? That's him. He's a minister of state. He had a stint with the American army. Recently, he used it as part of his portfolio. This is the man who owns the biggest hotel in West Africa. They call it the Rock City. He's a handsome dude. Recently, he swore twice, not once, that they will never hand over power to the opposition NDC, come what may. And many Ghanaians said, these people are hatching a plan which is going to bring chaos. Because my Jamaican people say, when you plant the wind, you reap a hurricane. This is Bryan Acheampong. Recently, he also tried to buy some hotels, dubiously government hotels. Come here, my youth. Government hotels. And so many people were so mad and angry. In fact, so they stepped back a little. There were demonstrations all over the capital. Why would you sell government hotels, nationally owned hotels, to one man? They said, oh, it was in a bid to salvage those hotels. Ghanaians rejected that and said the government was selling all these to its cronies. It was tantamount to state capture. Manasseh has a new story today. Run it, my youth, and come here, man. You think a joke? Come here! Bryan Acheampong masterminded KenMustGo campaign. Do we all remember the KenMustGo campaign? Who was Ken? The finance minister at the time, Akuffo. This was the man who said he wasn't taking salary. He was so ill. In the days of the COVID, he almost died. Prophets prophesied all over the place that he was going to die before the COVID even hit him. And when he came face to face with death, he asked the same prophets to pray for him because he's a Christian and a Bible-believing man. He flew all the way to England and America to cure himself of COVID complications, we're told. He came back and told us his liver had increased in size and some other organs had increased and inflated. That was why he had a puffy face. We told him, can you rest aside? Thank you for the work. Can somebody help, dear? Come and take over whilst you rest and recuperate. He said no. He stayed there until there was a certain agenda called KenMustGo. The whole Ghana, everybody sang that chorus, KenMustGo, KenMustGo, KenMustGo. Today we are told that the main proponent and perpetrator of the KenMustGo thing was Bryan Acheampong. Run the story, my youth. Watch it. You know what it says? Bryan Acheampong, the member of parliament, come here, for the Abetifi constituency, has been identified as the one who engineered the campaign by some members of parliament on the ticket of the NPP to have Ken Ofori-Atta removed as Minister of Finance at the time. It will be recorded that in 2022, Ken Ofori-Atta came under heavy criticism from some NPP lawmakers demanding his ousting. Now the MPs who were believed to be over
Black Rasta the twice Bryan Acheampong you be a Adembone or can't Adembone or Panitrimba Papa. If you saw say a state properties in 2 stores, Papa no and I say or no Akuffo or Toda like or manager Padiano, not just say what check a Bryan Acheampong you be a or Adembone Papa Abusia and some Black Rasta can and some non wedding. It's my say. Yes, I could see in some Black Rasta at the
90 thought that Ken Ofori-Atta had not steered the economy of the country in the right direction and that the hardships being experienced by Ghanaians were due to his incompetence. Andy Apiakubi, the Asante Achim North MP who acted as spokesperson for the group, was seen as the mastermind of the campaign, but it has now emerged that the Minister of Food and Agriculture plotted the whole KenMustGo thing. This disclosure was made by Investigative journalist Manasseh Azure Awune during an interview on Metro TV on Thursday, August 8, 2024, ahead of the launch of his book on the Akuffo government. Manasseh said on Good Morning Ghana that he decided to explore that topic in his book because it was one of the major occurrences under the Akuffo government. There was the KenMustGo thing. At the time, someone told me that Bryan Acheampong was behind it. When I was writing the book, I realized that I needed to capture it because it was a major event in the Akuffo administration. I went to Bryan Acheampong and said, I'm told you were behind the KenMustGo rebellion. And he said, if anybody said I was behind it, it is not accurate. I was actually in front of it, he said. Wow. Wow. So he did it. And we ousted Ken Ofori-Atta and brought in Amin Anta. Dr. Amin Adam Anta. Bring the photo of Bryan Acheampong here. Come here, my youth. You think I joke? Mr. Bryan Acheampong, honorable, with all respect, I have never been your fan because of some careless speeches you made about never handing over power to the opposition. If nobody handed power to the opposition, there was no way your party would have come into power. But I agree with you now. I salute you. Ken was actually one of the biggest problems we had right in this country when it came to our economy. He was not ready to go. He was so sickly. He was lousy. He was so poor in terms of his work. He's one of the biggest failures of this nation. Akufo-Addo's government. Let me be fair to him. He started on a good note. Then all of a sudden, he threw all of us off gear. What you did, KenMustGo, would always be remembered. And next time I meet you, even though I said I would never shake your hands, now I will shake your hand and say that at least you did one thing that was most positive. Ken was so arrogant. He wasn't ready to go. He was so sick. And to make it even worse, he called for the e-levy. And all of you supported him. Bryan Acheampong, Canada, Japan, everybody supported him because they said and warned us. In fact, they blackmailed us. He told us, if you don't allow us to implement the e-levy, we will go to the IMF and the World Bank and get a loan that will saddle the whole nation in debt. We panicked. We cringed. We were totally flabbergasted. So we asked them to go ahead. A few months after the so-called e-levy started being implemented, they came back with their tails in between their legs, crying that the whole e-levy thing had failed. Now Bawumia is campaigning that he's bringing back the road toll system after they cancelled it and replaced it with the e-levy. What jokers in power. Hey, Bryan Acheampong, I salute you. So you did it. May I give you another responsibility? May I give you another responsibility? Bring it here. May I give you another responsibility? Bring the other photo, the one in white. I like that more. May I give you another responsibility, my brother? This is a job. And I would like to pay you for it if I can. Not with money, but with something else. What else can I give to a politician that will make him happy? They are only interested in material things. I would have said I would have dedicated a whole week of fasting and prayer for you if you could do this. Start Bawumia Must Go campaign. Start Bawumia Must Go campaign. Bawumia is worse than KenMustGo. Bawumia was the chairman of the economic team, under whose watch the whole economy collapsed to the ground. Today, he's saying that Akuffo is the worst president from his deeds. Everything that Akuffo did in his tenure, he's undoing them one after the other in a presidency that he has not even entered. Please, Bawumia must go. Better still, Bawalaya.
Tiabushia and some nominee Cocotier na Black Rasta and some more can say, Bryan Acheampong, it's me Jinai, Amamo Pamo, Ayakin, Oforiata, if we da finance minister office what they are. Now so it's me Jina, Amamo Pamo Bawumia, and then Nana Addo. If you say more, I'm a bono mobile, and a black papa no mobile, or mine say it, and I'm with you Kumate say. Abushia and some Black Rasta, attitude done. It's a madam, somebody penny, and your cocoa tea. And some Black Rasta at the Babadomian. Madam.